Hey guys, this is Layout Review, and this time I'm going over the LEC 2024 rosters. Most of these should be correct at this point, I believe, from last I checked. The main difference being, they actually already changed to the Giant X, so yeah, it's technically correct. Let's go over each team. So Fnatic, they basically changed out one player. It was Advine. They changed it to June. June was on the LCK. He's definitely a better individual player. Advine was not very mechanically strong. So this is going to be a good benefit to them. And of course, he is Korean, and even though no one can speak English, and he has done well with his Twitter posts and everything for doing English and like getting English fans, it'll be nice for him to have June. So then they have Oscarin, young talent. He's good. Humanoid, we know what he's all about. Great player. And then you have Noah June. And Noah played with Cabby before he was on Fanatics. He was with a Korean support as well. And he might have that preference, and that's why they went that way. G2, same team, except they have Duffman as their assistant coach. Giant X. So they added Jackie's. Jackie's is a ERL player. Young player. He's a very brazen, bold player with high presence in lane. There is three young talents from the ERLs that were coming into 2024. It was Jackie's, Vladdy, and 610. Of those three, Jackie's was the only person who probably had a chance at bumping up because his skill set, his actual play, can reach the level of LEC right now. 610 and Vladdy still have things they have to work out, but Jackie's was that guy. So I'm very impressed that someone actually opted to pick him up and trial for it. So that's awesome. And then they're flipping out their support and they're adding Ignar. Ignar, he was on Energy. They went to Worlds. They won LCS in summer. He is not great in an Enchanter meta, and it might be going into Enchanter meta, so this might be bad, but we'll see. Carmine Corp, they did switch out some players, like they put in Bo, which is amazing. Obviously, having Bo is absolutely amazing, but they kept Cabochard, Saken, and Targamas. I'm not like Saken is not good. He's not very good, and Cabochard is like okay. Like he's not gonna be some insane LEC player. Upset obviously is fantastic. So like Bo and Upset are like your clear 1 and 2 like big impact players. And Targamas, like I don't know if he still speaks. He had an issue where he wasn't really talking much in game, and obviously that's really bad as support. Um, but if his individual level is good enough and Upset's willing to like take over that side, their 2v2 could be good individually. And Upset will do his part no matter what because he is that good. Like he's a very good ADC player. But my main worry is definitely on Saken, Cabochard, and Target. So basically, the original Carmine Corp guys that they're bringing in. Now their coaching staff is interesting because they have Yamato Cannon, who he's not exactly the greatest strategic mind in league by any means, but he's a very charismatic individual and good at rallying people, and perhaps he's going to be able to do that with this team. Part of me says no because Bo and Upset could get pretty annoyed with the level of play from their teammates, but we'll see. Stake, that is incredibly interesting because Stake used to be on Flash Wolves. He was their top laner, and he moved to LPL as a coach, and he was a very successful coach. Like he is pretty legit. So, and that's mostly because they got Stake because they have Bo. So that actually might help them a lot with like shaping Bo and containing Bo, having Stake. So I don't know. Could be interesting. Mad Lions, basically, this is just like taking MRS, the Euro team MRS, and then just throwing in Eloya. They got rid of Niski, or Niski left, one of those two. I don't know which one it is. Frescoe is basically a weaker version of Niski, so that's a downgrade. Super Alvaro. Alvaro was the number 1 support from the URLs coming into 2024, so that's a huge pickup. Mern is like he's fine. There was better ERL top laners than him, but they're clearly going for like a Spanish based team, as you can tell. And of course, naturally, like these guys have all played with each other, so there's some like immediate synergy. So they probably will hit the ground running and doing like decent at first. Maybe in the first split they'll actually like push deep into playoffs or something, but after a series of time, they will definitely start slipping and getting worse compared to like the upper echelon of teams. And if they can somehow match it still, that's amazing. But they might just start like replacing some players. Rogue, Shigenda, he was okay. Marcoon, like he was pretty decent. Larson, good. Comp can be good, but depends. Zoils, Earl, LFL player. He is most known for his enchanter picks. I remember him playing Heimer, Lux, these kinds of things. He is, if it goes that meta, if the meta does switch to enchanters, which it already kind of is, like with more range supports, that is a big benefit for them. And definitely will keep an eye on that. That might be the difference maker in some ways. SK Gaming, like I mean, so this is their other guy, right? Like Isama was on like this squad. Um, he's okay. I know a lot of people like him, but personally, Isama is kind of uh he has some weird team fighting habits, especially if he has to be the main engage. Like it's not really ideal if he has to start fights. And he mostly knows how to play the game through the lens of just pushing with advantage, and that's about it. Like when it's more even state or like you're behind, his impact is lowered a lot. So not like my favorite pickup per se. Irrelevant was fine, but again, I feel like you could have maybe tried something a little bit different. Niski, he's good, and Niski's good in a sense that he like if you have Isma who wants to push the pacing, and you have Niski to enable that, great. Um, Personally, if they're able to keep Niski, though, I think these two were like kind of butting heads a little bit in the end, or maybe he just wanted somewhere new to try. But if Niski was on the team, I think Mad Lions would have been so interesting. Isakek DOS, it varies, but Isakek is definitely a good player. DOS can be a good player at times. And so a lot of their plays is going to be playing into bot lane. And then we have BDS. It's again basically the same team except Ice is replacing Crowny. Crowny, a lot of people are going to say like Crowny's good. Like why would they replace him? I don't understand. Like it's not like Crowny was the issue. Crowny was okay. Like it could be better. Definitely could be better there. Nuke and Sheo had their moments. Even Adam had his moments. Same with LeBron. I mean, like overall, he probably was the one player if you were to choose one to replace. Ice, he came from the same team as Noah from Z10 in the Ultra Liga scene. He is. I remember on FlyQuest we actually looked at him a little bit. He can be good. He definitely can be good. And he did get to play on a Western team, so he played with Z10 for a bit. So it's not like he's completely new to the environment, to the Western culture, which is a good thing, and that's probably why they felt okay picking him up too. So I'll be curious to see where this goes. The only thing is like, once again, Z10 kind of flopped. Like they did well in their own region, and then they flopped. And that's never a great thing. But as you could tell, Noah has his good moments, even on Fnatic, and it could literally work. Heretics, I mean, it's basically like just like another version of G2, Perks, Wonder, Yankos, Flackid, Kaiser, and then just Peter Dunn. I'm sure there's like other coaches, but they just have Peter Dunn. Main thing with this team, it's like like Perks is okay, Wonder's okay, Yankos is great, Flackid is pretty good, and Kaiser is like whatever. It's like you really want to believe this team will do better, but I'm not like 100% sold on it. We're sure where it's gonna go. So I guess we'll see, but I'm not as hopeful with that team. Let's say that. And then Vitality, it's Photon, Douglas. So Douglas is new, Vethio's new, Karzi's back, and then Hillsing's back. So they only really kept Photon. The team as a whole, like individually, like mechanically, like Photon great, Vethio can be great, Douglas can be great. Think of him like a little bit similar to Yike. Like that's like the best comparison I can make is Douglas to Yike. Karzi and Hylissang depends, but even though I'm not like the most fond of Karzi's play, he has shown to at least still like uphold and do his part and take the team far. So it's not like I'm going to discount this player at all. But a lot of it's going to come down to like again, I keep thinking of the Excel scrim or the Excel stage game where Vethio just is not saying anything. Like him and Targamas just added nothing to the team. And if he doesn't change that with a rookie jungler, I don't know if this guy's gonna be able to like uphold for him. Um, of course, Hillsang is a little bit different from the rest of that they've been playing with, in that Hillsang can kind of pull people along and create situations. Even though he might die, he might create situations that does enable them to get into skirmishes, and that turns into good things. But we'll see. So the most obvious thing to do to put in like the S tier team is G2. Also, I should definitely change this to look like this. So G2. I think that's a huge given, right? Um, Next up, I probably would just put in Fnatic in the same tier. These two teams are, I mean, you just look at the rosters, they're keeping the majority of their players, their full list of players, and they're keeping everyone but their support, and the support easily could have been like changed up anyways. Um, so they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of synergy already built in, which means that they're both going to be hitting the ground running already, which is a big upside compared to other teams. And then they also scale very well. So easy S tier. I don't think anyone else fits in this category. I know some people might look at this route and say, you know, I mean, these guys played together, but it's been a while. I mean, the vibes are going to be great. For sure, the vibes will be really great, but let's not just like jump the wagon, right? Now in the A tier, that is that's kind of a bold throw in by me. I think I'm not like the most fond of all these rosters. I'm going to be honest. Um, because there's like little bits are all like kind of everywhere. Like for instance, Mad Lions would be like Mad for me would be like a C tier team. I think the way they scale is just not great because of their mid lane pick. Like this is going to be a constant issue for them. I think Supa is kind of like Karzi. Even Alvaro's a little bit like Hylissang, which is kind of funny that these two like are going along this way. Um, but yeah, mid and top, and then we'll just see how like the team like actually scales up. But I'm not like the most fond of it. The way these guys all interact with each other is kind of like a huge dice roll. SK Gaming, like I almost want to put SK Gaming here. I'm curious if I'm gonna have anyone in a D tier. I don't know. I don't know if I really will, because for B tier, I'm gonna put BDS, and I'll probably put. Man, it's just such a ballsy throw in. See, I might even put Giant X. I mean, it's Peach, Otoamne, Jackies, but it's Peach and Jackies. Part of me feels like this team actually is gonna kind of implode. And this is like kind of a like the scaling player is Jackies, right? I think we're not gonna see anything new from Patrick. Ignar and Peach is obviously nice to work together, and maybe those situations will be really nice. And I might change this. Oh, I know how I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I'm gonna put Giant X here, and I'm gonna put Carmine Corp here. Now I know this looks a little weird because it's like, really, you're gonna put KC here, but it's just because again, I don't have faith in Saken. I have no idea how these guys are gonna pan out. Even though the coaching staff might make this team work in the end, I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith in it. I probably will put Heretics here in the end. Uh, they're a good team. Well, I'm saying they're a good team because of like their former synergy, but also there's a lot of experience and vets on this team. And if they do get like, if Perks can get back in the mindset of like being creative with Yankos, and I do think, I really hate Kaiser though. That's the only thing that's like bothering me. I probably would put Rogue here because, okay, I won't lie, being a little bit lost in the sauce here. Part of me feels like I should actually move up Vit, even though I'm kind of like uncertain if these guys will work out the best. But I think these two will be more humbled compared to what they had before. And these guys are not too like insane on like being assholes or anything either. Which oof, man, it really is hard to do this with these guys. For sure Matt is here. And for sure SK is here. Giant X might move up. Rogue, Person Shigenda, Marcoon. Part of me's like, maybe throwing Rogue up there is like too soon. And even though I said there's certain like worries I have with Vitality, I do have a feeling that this will actually pan out. I do have a feeling this will pan out. So is that everyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is everyone. Carmine Corp at last. Even though they have two insane players, part of me just feels like the rest is just gonna crumble it. Giant X. Do they deserve to move up? They have this guy who has to prove himself, and Ignor's not the best at enchanters. He's good at enchanters, good at enchanters, decent, okay-ish, okay-ish, good, okay-ish, good. Yeah, I don't know. Also, I just realized I still have my Steam on. Beautiful. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. I think I'm gonna stick with this though. I think this makes the most sense. Yeah, let's stick with this. Okay, now the player rankings is gonna be a little hard. I'll admit, this will definitely be a little hard. Ooh, Scarin, Photon, Broken Blade, Adam. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Cabochard. Then I'm gonna do Irrelevant. So individually, Shigenda is better than Adam, but Adam consistently adds more value than Shigenda, which makes me not care to put him above him. And then we get into like the true players, and part of me wants to put Wonder here at this point. It's Odo or Wonder. Odo or Wonder. It's probably Wonder and then Odoamne. And then I have Photon, Broken Blade, Oscarin. Wait, who am I missing? Oh, I forgot to put Mern. Oh, shit. Hold on. So Mern goes here. Actually, do I think Mern's better than Irrelevant? We'll do this. Okay. So the easy thing to do is to put Broken Blade first, right? I do find him to kind of slip up more than the other two when it comes to strict laning phase, but Broken Blade kind of adds more overall to the game still. So he probably remains up here regardless. Photon for Oscarin. I might do it this way for now. Oscarin is still good. Like, this guy mechanically is really good. But I will say Photon, in the parts that Oscarin is good in, Photon is also equally, if not better, good at it. For now. And then maybe this will change going into 2024, but I'll probably lay it at that. For junglers, okay, well, this one's easy to put down first. So Eastman's at the bottom. That's for sure. Then it's probably Sheo, Peach. Do I put Peach? Peach, Sheo. Peach, Sheo. I probably have to put Douglas here at this point. Marcoon. Now this is where it gets interesting. So, personally, it really depends. And like me putting Jankos at the top is like a little bold, but he can play every style. Like he can play any style, any meta, which is incredibly good. And of course, naturally, he's going to synergize with his team and play around with his team. And even though Bo mechanically, as an individual player, is absolutely there, there's just something not clicking with like his play and like certain metas. He does not do well in. Like he was not a Maokai guy, that's for sure. So I probably will put down Aloya. Then this is where it gets interesting. Razork, Bo, Yike. Look, Yike is fine. Yike is like a fine jungler, but he has the best team in the entire league. Like just players who are like, Caps is like you know how we talk about Faker's like such a good team player? Like he's willing to sack waves and read the situations and take the loss just to ensure that he's prepared for the fight and he can enable his jungler and his teammates. Yeah, Caps does the same thing. And Caps was undeniably the like best Western mid at Worlds, this previous Worlds. So yeah, kind of has some good teammates. You can kind of get away with some things because of that. So then it becomes Razork versus Bo. In theory, Bo should be here, and it should be Razork here. But I could see this being like flipped around. But I'll probably leave it at that. For mids, it's easy, guys. It's Caps, right? It's Caps first. This is also easy because I can put Frescoe second. I think I could do it this order. Saken. Shouldn't say Saken. Saken. Look, I love Jackies. I have like a lot of interest in this kid being good. And in some ways, part of me wants to say this, which is a little bold. I'll say it's definitely a little bold, but the thing is, Vethio is good, but he hasn't done enough to earn it, to like earn his like keep. Man, I'm having Nisqy like way the fuck up here though. Does this look right? So Caps first, undeniable. He can play so many champs, so many styles. Literally the Jankos of mid lane, right? Frescoe at the bottom makes sense. Sankin. This one is bold for me to say like these two over Perks because Perks adds other aspects, but like Perks has been on like a steady decline of just overall play. Also, does this look bad for me having Heretics A if I have Perks here? Wonder here, Jankos here. We'll see. might be. This is a little bold of me to say Jackie's over Perks. Maybe I should put Jackie's here. Again, I think Jackie's can move up. Like he can definitely move up to like here, like 4th or 5th. By the end of like the first 2 splits, he could be like at 4 or 5. Saken and these guys are not moving. Perks, like he could go a little bit lower. Vethio, he could go a little higher. Duke, I don't think he's gonna change at all. I think he's just gonna remain in the middle. The same could be said for like, do I think Mern can go up a little bit? Yeah. And Shigenda go up a little bit? Yeah. I think Cabashard's just stuck here. Wonder might be able to move up 1 or 2 spots, depending on form. And then like any of these guys can move up over Broken Blade depending. And then like I said, this one like Bo, Razork. It just depends on how Bo comes into play and how he plays with the team. And like, can he keep his mental like sane enough with his teammates because the new the new season 14.1 is going to have like a lot more focus on like laners playing individually versus just you playing on your own or like with like playing with a jungler as much. um so if your laners suck, you're pretty screwed, which again is why like you see me putting G2 Fnatic in S tier. Them like they're in C tier because they just like some question marks on this. Same with Carmen Corp, like that's why they're in the D tier. That's why Mad is in C tier. Like BDS, they could be B, maybe A. Like they have good laners. These guys have good laners, which might be good enough for Yank or for Douglas. And then same with them, like their laners could be decent, which is why they're at A. And you know, I think this, I think this is mostly fair on how I did this in the end. I'm like not 100% sure on these guys being in C in some ways, but that's okay. For AD wise, I mean, in theory, he is the best AD. Like when it comes to like just playing each round in like fights and laning, getting farm, like he is individually the best. The player who'd be at the bottom, shit, this is not easy. This is not easy. I might do it this way. I don't know what people are gonna think of this, but I'm gonna do it this way maybe. Part of me almost feels like doing this, but this is like really bold, by the way. This is a very bold call. Because Supa has shown like good, like when Comp came in, like he showed a lot. And I think Supa can do the same, especially because he has the same support. I definitely would put him over Patrick, that's for sure. Like Patrick's is at the bottom. But do I put Comp over him? If I follow my same logic, technically I would put Comp here and Supa here. Just because I feel like Supa had like while he's shown some good things, he hasn't shown like enough to just say I that good. Which is why like with Jackie's like, yeah, I really want to put him above Perks. But again, the whole point of player rankings is that at least to take a little like logic falling into it, right? Like you're not going too risky in all these call outs because you just don't know for some of these guys yet. ADC though, outside of these guys, Ice exit kick. I think I'm gonna do Ice exit kick. I think that is right. And then Blackid. Am I really gonna put Noah this high? Well, I'll put Blackid here for sure. Carzzy. Noah. Okay, I like Noah. Me putting Carzzy here feels a little... I mean, no matter what, Hans Sama's here, right? Hans Sama's here. Noah, Carzzy. I might revisit this. And then finally for support, undeniable Mikyx at number 1. I can't argue with this one. At the bottom is going to be... Oh man, that's funny. That's bold of me to say this too, but I am really not a fan of Kaiser. Dude, if I put Kaiser here, how am I putting... I have to say A. I really do not like Kaiser though. This is going to get really rough, actually. Because I think it's Ignar... Soils, Alvaro, Doss. Actually, I kind of like Alvaro Doss, to be honest. Oh, but dude, I have to put Targamas somewhere. Targamas. Do I really have Targamas over Ignar and Kaiser. But Soils. Oh shit, I got lost in the sauce for a second. Kaiser, I can't put Targamas over. Okay, this is annoying. But I think Targamas is the worst support here. That'd be kind of insane for me to say that. I'm gonna put Zoils, Kaiser. Again, there's potential for Zoils. I think he can bump up. Not a huge fan of Kaiser. I definitely would take Doss over him. But I say Targamas is better than Kaiser. I kind of feel that way. Actually, Targamas. I think this is then Doss Alvaro. Doss Alvaro. Oh, but what about Ignar? Oh man, this is kind of hard. Lavrov is good. I know that for sure. I almost feel like he might be the second best support. Because when I look at the names, like June is good too. And even though I'm putting Hylissang here, a lot of people will say, like, dude, you can't put Hylissang that low. Keep in mind, like, individually, like in his lane, and situations that he creates can be pretty bad, which I feel like these players don't do as often, nearly as often, but he is still a very creative and good player. And I feel like these three players can switch their positions in a way. I think these three players can switch their positions, and then these three players can switch their positions. And Zoils might even bump up a lot higher. Ignar being this high, as I said, if it's Enchanters, he's going to be like at the bottom. But I do know what kind of comms he brings to the team and like energy, and he has good looks. But at the same time, I think he deserves to be this high. It's kind of wild. I like him more than Kaiser, though. I know that for sure. I'm gonna keep it this way for now, but this one, I'm like Ignar being there is like definitely not my favorite position. But I think this covers it all. G2 Fnatic at the top. Heretics and Vitality. Like this team could actually really pan out well, especially with the 14-1 changes. BDS Rogue. Could be a bit better. Could be a bit better, but not half bad. Mad SK Giant like these guys really have to mesh to actually like turn out. If they don't, it's gonna be a disaster. SK again, same thing. Like you're gonna have a very specific style of like getting early game advantage and pushing that hard. Don't know how possible that is. Mad, they'll probably be fine in the beginning. It'll make my rankings look bad, but eventually, like towards the end, like they're not gonna be like really good at all. And in Carmine Corp, I just don't have faith in how this is gonna pan out. Just my opinion. I just don't have faith. And then for the players, you know, as you can tell, like you have Broken Blade, Caps, and Mikyx all at number 1. And then we have Yike at 5, and then we have Hans at 2, so it makes sense that they're S, right? Like most of these like player rankings kind of coincide with where they are here. Um with some outliers. Obviously, like, you know, you see Jankos at here and he's A tier. But you know, like Perks is here, Wonder is here, Blackett is here, and Kaiser's here. So like outside of Jankos, I'm not like the most fond. I like the entire roster outside of just like, yeah, like it's the boys coming back together. But there's a potential that the way they play with each other could translate into being an A tier team. It might be more just to me saying they're a B tier team and maybe moving up like moving up BDS to A tier. But yeah, like I think outside of G2 Fnatic Vitality, I think a lot of these teams are kind of a little iffy for me. A little iffy. But yeah, that's my LEC power rankings and tier list for the teams and the players. Thanks for watching.